This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Only Friends podcast. Christian, you look a little different today. You're glowing.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God, look at that light. Wait, it's on a tan filter
Yeah,
today.
I gave you a little.
Wow.
I'm trying to make you look Dominican.
Thank you.
From the island boy.
That's me, Chin, the island boy.
Yeah. So we're back. We are less a Christian. Nobody knows where he's at. He's fled the country.
If you guys see him, contact the local police department.
Yeah, I've called the hospitals. He's nowhere to be found. So
just check Bellagio. He's there.
The floor on the Bellagio floor.
No Marley, no Landon, no Christian.
So anyway, we're looking for new co-hosts. If anybody is available Monday through Friday around 1 p.m., let us know.
Who'd be a good fit? If we could pluck literally anybody.
Anybody in the world?
No. We have to start with our little,
okay,
our little sector first.
I think Jamie would be funny.
Ooh. I think Jamie would be funny.
Yeah.
I feel like Jamie would have to script though. Like she's so hilarious whenever she gets to sit with it.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying she's not funny in conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think I can make her squirm more than I can make you squirm. And for that reason, like,
hard to make me squirm.
Yeah, like we can riff a little bit better.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think like if we were doing a Tonight Show like podcast,
yeah,
I would hire her in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
like just write all my shit.
I don't know. Who would you guys want?
I honestly have no idea.
Hostel?
Turn the mic to your face, man. What are you doing?
He's playing a 5-card game.
Everyone just relax.
We're down 2 members and you're over here grinding fucking PLO 8 or better 5 cards?
Yes.
Everyone.
You aren't good at No Limit.
I mean, I don't know.
There's only 2 cards in that game.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
I don't know what to tell you.
Game's good.
What do you know about an additional 5 cards in your hands?
I mean, I played this game for a year.
Well,
and I did decent at it.
Guys.
I don't know what to tell you.
We got a champion over
we
already know I'm a mixed game champion. We already know this.
Yeah. I mean,
we have already figured this out. You know what? We're going to have Only Friends, Poker Out Loud, mixed games only.
Oh my God. I'm drawing dead.
Oh yeah, you're gonna really prove your point there, getting an entire lineup of people who've never played a game before, so you can show your dominance.
Conrad is gonna win the Players Championship this year at the WSOP.
Not this year.
Next year he's gonna win it.
Not now, not ever.
We'll see about that one.
I mean, we're basically
Trust
talking
me,
about
if he has $50,001, he's playing.
when we're talking about 8 or better prowess, we're pretty much talking like Ari Angle, Conrad Simpson. You know, it's like basically same.
Ari's the GOAT. You know, you just gotta.
Yeah.
There's some people you bow down to.
Sure.
Ari wins.
Sure. I would choose Farah.
Oh,
as a co-host.
That could be fun.
But only because I think that it would just be like me constantly getting called out.
Yeah, that's fun for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll gang up on you.
Yeah, I regret this decision.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't know what you're inviting into this.
No, yeah, I take it back. I take it all back. I need a real punching bag is I think what it comes down to.
God. That's terrible.
Who wants to sign up to be my Andy Richter?
Yeah.
You know, just the butt of all the jokes.
That why Chin stopped showing up?
No, I only started trolling him when he started missing.
Yeah, no. He'll be back.
Yeah, no, troll him as soon as he gets here.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the GOAT, our man Ivey is back in the winner's circle. Somehow, some way, this guy brain solved short deck in short order. His last 4 tournament victories have all been in short deck. This one comes in the Triton. The Triton series, I believe it was 100K buy-in, may have been 50K. But either way, he got first place for 1.17. Other notable names, Mike Watson got third for $500,000, so that's back-to-back final tables for him. Elton Sang got fourth for $400K. I believe that's back-to-back cashes for him. Jason Kuhn and Richard Young rounding out the final 7. Kuhn, obviously, beast at short deck. He's talked a lot about having played Ivey heads up and basically just said, like, this guy is a fucking mystery because it doesn't seem to work all that hard on the game. At least not compared to, modern theory and people just sitting around crunching sims all day long. But he said he's a fucking animal to play against. I've only ever played Ivey once in my entire career. Twice, sorry. So I played him at the Hustler Live where I don't know what the fuck was going on. Like he was either bored or didn't care or the money was too small.
Yeah.
Or it was too big or something. I don't fucking know. But like there was a hand where like I opened under the gun. Someone flatted like +1. I think it was maybe Dylan. And Ivey was in like the hijack with ace king and just calls. And we ended up going like 6 ways. And that happened like a couple times. Like there were a few spots where like he just did some weird shit. There was another time it was spooky as fuck. He limps the cutoff, which is just like, what the fuck is going on? And I have aces on the button.
Dude, he's next level, man.
Well, he wasn't that next level because I opened and got called by all the blinds and then he just like flicks it in with king jack off. So, I mean, it's not like he knew I had aces, but yeah, there was some weird shit going on there. Like, as best I can tell, he just didn't give a shit. Like, it seemed like he was sweating the sports games
stuff.
more. Yeah, like, I don't, the game wasn't small by any standard, but definitely small compared to, like, I guess the average stake that he probably plays. But man, when I play small, I don't play, that's not how I splash. Like, I just get stacks in the middle a bunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's crushing, seems to really have figured out short deck in maybe a very simplistic way. Like that's kind of the thing. I saw somebody, it was Patrick Howard tweeted today. And I found it to be both fascinating and dangerous at the same time, if that makes sense. But he put a tweet out that said, AI is very great at solving games, but the current ability to apply or basically close the gap between the artificial intelligence solve and the human application is too vast. And he's like, I'm most interested in people who will develop algorithms that give up very little in accuracy, but gain a lot in practical applications. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, what you're asking for is the death of games, because unless you're the only person who has this information, it's not that fucking hard to take, like if this is possible, to basically take technology and distill things down into very simplistic, tactical applications, then anybody can do it. And now there's just no edge to be gained other than how fast can you memorize and how well can you apply. But it does kind of speak a little bit to maybe the way that Ivey's mind works, right? Like this guy's just clearly very good at games. He plays all of the mixes. He seems to be like top 1 to 5% in literally every fucking variation, right? So it's like how, and Mercier kind of reminds me of this too.
You think he's
like,
just played so much?
No, I don't.
No.
I think that I think he just has a mind for game. Like same thing with Jay. Like every time a new variant would pop up, he was just instantly one of the best.
Yeah.
I remember when Open Face came out.
I was gonna say, yeah, Open Face.
He just like instantly had it solved in his head without really ever. And don't get me wrong, like Open Face is a relatively simplistic game. Like you can get EV calcs for it pretty easily. But this was before anybody was thinking along those lines, and like he just instantly was there. And then when they added the variation of Fantasyland, which makes it a lot more difficult to calculate because there's a lot more risk involved, but there's a lot of reward, and how much is all of that worth? And, in the early days, it's like, we're just estimating, right? We're just like, okay, this is the point scoring system. Let's do our damnedest to try to, and it's just like, he just inherently knew somehow. And Ivey seems to be that way when it comes to like, when he first started coming up, I guess it would have been late 90s. So stud variants were still very popular.
Like a lot of limit too, right?
Yeah, a lot of limit, but he adopted the big bet games instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly, when the moneymaker boom hit, Phil Ivey was the name.
I mean, wasn't he like grinding at like Taj Mahal early ages? Like
yeah,
all
but I
those
mean,
mixed
like
games?
it was mostly stud variants at that point in the East Coast. So like we were talking about like 97 to 2002, it was strictly like limit hold'em and stud variants. So yeah, when he was an AC, underage, whatever, it wasn't like he was banging out 5-10 no limit or anything like that.
Huh.
And you know, he effectively, like, if you look at his career trajectory, he effectively went from like being a mixed game player to suddenly playing some of the biggest games available at the no limit. Like by 05,
I wonder if like
he's playing high stakes poker.
all those different variants like helped him eventually have a more well-rounded strategy, because I know like certain games will sort of teach you like more in, like, for example, PLO, like you can learn card removal a little bit better than in no limit, and then you can translate that into no limit. So I wonder if like learning a bunch of different variants has just helped overall like make him stronger.
I imagine for the mixed games that's true.
Yeah.
And then I imagine for the big bet games that's true. Like I imagine he gets short deck because he gets PLO and he gets no limit.
Right.
And it's some sort of baby
Yeah.
that's born out of those two games. So I imagine that, but it's not like he's the only one who plays big bet games.
Yeah. I mean, he has to be just naturally gifted too.
Yeah, there's something about the way that his brain works that allows him to kind of like see the streamlined path.
Yeah.
And obviously, like some of this is variance too. It's like, who knows what his actual ROI is in these events? Who knows if he's just like on a sun run?
I remember when he played that heads up thing for WPT and everyone was like, does he still have it? But he just like was pulling out the craziest shit versus people who are very like solver studied.
Yeah. I think Gelfand is a little bit like this too. And I'm glad that he's outspoken about, or maybe not outspoken, but I'm glad he at least speaks about it, in the sense that like, I feel like Gelfand and I are a bit similar like this. And I also feel like Garrett is a bit similar to this, where, and maybe it's because of the era we grew up in, right? We weren't just thrust right into solver work, but we've spent so much time reverse engineering this game and developing strategies that function, that the best thing that we comprehend from solver work is the principles that drive those thought processes and strategies. So like we effectively think in terms of the way the solver arrives at conclusions. So we think in EV terms, we think in like the principles that we can glean from a solve, in the sense of like what position is worth, what range advantage is worth, what that allows us to set up. But we don't calibrate well. Yeah. And I'm speaking mostly for myself in that regard, but like I'm also kind of extrapolating some of the things that Phil said during the Gelfand challenge, where he was kind of getting wrecked trying to mimic the solve. Yeah. But eventually was just like, okay,
stop trying to do that.
Right. Like I've learned a lot of things from this machine, but there's also an element of application that I think I'm better at, utilizing my own strategies rather than trying to mimic this. Yeah. And he just absolutely crushed. We'll talk a little bit about this tomorrow when we get into high stakes poker, but Garrett's very much the same. I think like he played 4 hands on this past episode, and I would say all 4 of them were exploitative in nature. Yeah. Right? Like 3 betting hands that just don't qualify, C betting boards multi-way that are just like pure checks, at least as far as like we can understand. But it's good. Yeah. Like I can tell you a good reason for why he did what he did in every single spot. Random
stuff. Like he has reasons for everything.
Right. And whether his reason was the same as like what I'm gleaning from it in the moment, it doesn't really matter. Assuming that he has a reason, these exploitative plays are just making a lot of money because the response is as expected. Yeah. Like when you're just not getting raised enough, when you're not getting 4-bet enough, when
you have to be like in like live time adjusting your strategy based on who you're playing against.
Yeah. It's like if people are willing to lay down, or if people are paying close attention to the meta, that's going to sway your decisions one way or the other. And I think Ivey just like has a real knack for this. You know, some of it's experiential, where it's like he's been in the game for a long time and he's both been a part of the new generation up and coming, as well as now the old guard and everything in between. So I think that like he does become that weird high, like this guy's grinding I mean, I don't know how much he's playing now, but I know like during COVID, he's probably putting in like thousands of hours on the apps.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, they're playing massive,
Like
right?
1K, 2K stuff.
Maybe bigger. Who knows?
God bless.
Who knows? But I mean, like, he's putting 7 to 8 figures of action down on these apps. And granted, like, it's a very small collection of people that he's very familiar with.
Right.
A lot safer than the general public just playing in app environments.
Yeah.
But still, like, putting in just a ton of volume. That's kind of unheard of for both a guy of his stature and a guy of his age.
Yeah. Well, isn't that how he was when he started too? He just grinded hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. I mean, from
Slept at
everything
the casino,
I understand, like he was just.
He's a grinder.
Yeah.
Once a grinder, always a grinder.
Yeah. Just the 24/7 guy. The only other time I ever played with him was in 2010, 2011, maybe. It was right around when I first had a real working bankroll. The World Series had an ante-only tournament. So much fun. So the blinds stayed the same the entire tournament. There were 100, 200.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So there were 100,
The antes
200
went up?
start to finish, but the antes went up. And obviously there was no big blind A, so everybody's doing it individually. He late regs and comes to my table. It's like 4 p.m. We're on like level, I don't know, 5, 6, something like that. Or no, I guess we started at noon back then. So probably like level 4. Sits down and is like in between the blinds and the button. And he sees like this massive pile of chips in the middle with 100, 200 blinds, and like looks around and goes, what the fuck are we playing? And everybody's like, oh, it's an ante-only tournament. Like the blinds are 1-2, but the antes increase, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
He goes, huh, oh, okay. Very next hand, he's the cutoff, gets dealt in, folds to him, and he just like opens for the perfect size.
Wow.
He just like opens for half pot, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on in your brain that like you just
Like,
find
got
a
it.
way to
Yeah.
like know? And
Yeah.
everybody like Pearl Jam was at my table, and everybody just like immediately took note because he hadn't been at the table for more than one hand, and he came like halfway through, so he didn't even see any opening sizes.
Yeah.
He literally opens to what the whole table was opening to.
That's
For the better part of
crazy.
an hour.
And he had never played that.
Never played, and none of us really. I mean, there was a
Yeah.
little bit that used to run on Stars pre-Black Friday, I think. So like there was a little bit of a feel for it, and obviously there was no profound strategy. It's not like any of us knew.
Right.
We just kind of like leaned on half pot seems about right. But yeah, he just like sits down and he's just like, "What the fuck is it?" Boom. Like, okay, guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you imagine him playing like board games with his like non-poker
my
friends?
God.
Just wrecking them?
Imagine him playing like
imagine-
Ticket
It's
to
like me
Ride.
playing-
Imagine playing Ticket
It's
to
like me
Ride
playing
with him.
Ticket to Ride with Berkey.
shut
Yeah.
the
No.
He's so
Conrad,
bad
this
at
is his
the game.
second comparison from himself to Phil
Conrad
Ivey
is
today.
I've played with. Well, I haven't played with you. I don't think.
I'm
but
not
I've
very
definitely
good.
played with these two.
I
and
just
Conrad
like to
is
try
definitely
and
better than
pull
Berkey.
rainbows. But there was the one time that I specifically remember because Conrad gave me shit for not having won a game, and then I was like, fuck these guys. So then that game, I just let them all like bicker against each other, and then I slowly like created the longest, most beautiful train, and just,
That's how you get them.
I
They're
cleaned it up.
going after each other, and you're just
Yes.
like,
You won?
right around.
Yes.
She
I have a
did play?
picture
She
of
won
it.
one
Yeah,
game.
you were playing.
I don't think I
I
was
won at like
playing.
6 a.m.
Yeah,
we
she won
stayed up
one
all
game.
night playing Ticket to Ride.
It's true.
I
But
feel
like,
like
you
I
know,
wasn't
he
playing.
solved that game probably by playing it twice. Ivy.
Sure. Most board games are just like pure chance and unbearable. But
I
like
mean, a lot of them
strategy games,
Right.
Yeah, I imagine like playing Catan with him is just a fucking nightmare. Like,
I
just-
wonder if you gave him like Magic the Gathering or something, and he just was like, "Okay, got it." Like you just
Like, I
explain it
think
once.
he, yeah,
and he
like you
just
said, like he
understands
has
the
that
game theory.
ability. You could literally set any strategy
Well,
game down
I feel
for
like
him.
it's
He'd probably
just
figure it
game.
out very
Like some
soon.
people are naturally like game theory oriented, right?
Yeah.
I think that's true. I mean, there's an iterative process to all games, even
Yeah.
whenever the outcomes are potentially limitless. And yeah, if you kind of have like an algorithmic mind where you just are able to kind of weigh the value of one decision versus the next. Sure, maybe you don't have the vision over all possible decisions.
Yeah.
But you could simplify it down to the most common decisions of like, okay, in this particular spot, my hand only really has 2 options. It's to
Right.
raise or to call. And I think my best, by my best estimate, based on the properties of my hand, I think raising outperforms call. And I just imagine that, like, assuming that's his thought process, if we were to compare it against an EV calculator, like a solve or something, he's right a fair amount.
Yeah.
Now, mechanically, he does do some things that are like off, but they're off based off of like what we've qualified as the best strategy,
Yeah.
right? We don't really know. I mean, like, you know, when he was playing that heads up sit and go, I think he was doing like a fair amount of 3xing at stages where everybody else was like 2.5.
Yeah.
And then he was still like opening a little bit larger when everybody else was reducing to a mid. And it's like, sure, maybe he's giving up some EV there. And in that particular format, I would estimate that's probably not his best format by any stretch. But at the same token, it's just like, well, you know, he just does some shit. Like, was it Kruk that he blasted off with?
Yeah, he like wrecked him.
Yeah. Like, he almost retired this kid just by playing a hand really fucked up.
Yeah.
One of them had deuces. I don't remember.
It was that one. I think it was the
I think
deuces.
Kruk had deuces somehow, and Ivey just like put in
He had
3
like
or 4 bets.
It was something ridiculous, like 7-4 off or some shit.
Yeah, and he was just like willing to keep putting in the next bet.
Yeah.
I think he like led and then 3-bet flop and just like had dust.
I almost wonder if like the fact that they were sitting across from each other at a table like had anything to do with it.
Right.
Like if Ivey could just like sense
Imagine
something.
Kruk just like peers over his computer, is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I fold. I don't know
He's
what
just
you're
stone
doing.
face, like all in.
Yeah, just getting after it. A little bit more news, I guess, regarding the old guard. I think this is a pretty interesting topic. It'll be a little bit divisive, perhaps, amongst the audience, especially because I may be of a bit of a different opinion. But Annie Duke was recently declared. Let me find the tweet because.
Who's Annie Duke?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The
You're not that young. You're not
I'm
young
not
enough to not know
I
who
wasn't
Annie
even
Duke
around,
is.
and I know who.
Oh, it's the lady that took all the dollars.
Yeah.
Oh.
She did take all the dollars.
Yeah.
I don't know that she took that many dollars, relatively speaking, but she definitely took a fair amount of dollars. But prior to getting into that, Josh Koppelman, who is a VC and a founder of a company called First Round, basically announced that he would be hiring Annie Duke. So he's welcoming her to the team. Her role for this team is to help create decision-making rubrics and build systems to reduce bias from the decision-making. So to give you a little background of what First Round is, it is basically what's the best way to qualify this? It's, I guess...
Is it a big data thing?
No. I mean, it seems like they use data, but it's effectively... a third-party consulting firm to help startups and VCs optimize the seed round for said ventures, right? So effectively, they're basically trying to help them create better pitches, create more optimized strategies, create better business plans.
Basically, just
Effectively, yeah, but I can't really tell necessarily if it is directly correlated to companies that Josh invests in himself, so they kind of get this service as a back end, or if it's like a hired gun,
right.
where any
Third-party
startup
thing.
could reach out to them and either exchange equity or just a fee.
Yeah.
But in any event, like, this company exists. It's a third-party consulting firm that is basically built around optimization. And what they're trying to do is just get better at that optimizing process. And they've hired Annie Duke to help create these decision-making rubrics to remove bias. The backstory is that Josh basically heard her on a podcast, immediately read Thinking in Bets, and said, like, she's it. And I've said this a bunch previously, where I think there are a fuck ton of poker players who are qualified to write the book Thinking in Bets.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, that book summarizes very eloquently.
Did you read it? I haven't read it.
I've read it, yeah. It's actually quite good. Like, I would highly recommend it to particularly people outside of poker. What it does a great job of is kind of finding or striking the balance between uncertainty and risk, and understanding how to quantify both. Right. So understanding how to quantify both risk and reward, and what the investment cost is going to be, which is effectively all poker is, right? It's just a game of uncertain future or undetermined future outcomes that we are trying to quantify in current state EV, right? So what's the likelihood of me making money or losing money based on placing this bet? It was very well done. She's very qualified. And this is the part that I think it's not necessarily divisive, but it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think people want to acknowledge it. She is a Columbia grad who then got her doctorate from Penn. It's like, she's no slouch.
Right.
Obviously, she's quite intelligent, but she fucked over the poker community.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we all have to hate her.
Yeah.
And I'm on board for that. Fuck, we don't do a good enough job of criminalizing people who have stolen from this community. So the fact that like Annie Duke is one of the faces of somebody who's been blackballed from this community and, you know, should never have that stain wiped off her smock until she makes good, or, you know, probably doesn't at this point, I imagine. I'm all for that. But with that said, she's very qualified for these positions.
Yeah.
And that's annoying because there are a lot of poker players who are qualified for these positions. But she's created a path that puts her in direct contact with these very wealthy VCs that are incredibly interested in the idea of applying game theory to business.
Right.
I think Helmuth does a good job of this too. He's on the board of like so many fucking companies.
Yeah.
Insane to me.
Yeah.
No knock against Phil, but like he's not Ike.
Networking.
Yeah. Like even he's not even Annie.
Right.
Like Helmuth isn't winning any fucking academia awards anytime soon. You know, it's like, of course, he's very marketable and he's very brash and outspoken.
Yeah.
But he's hardly our best and brightest as far as like intellect goes.
Right.
So there is a spectrum of people that are as qualified or more qualified than the select few that have transitioned into the business world from our community. But God damn it if they don't do it right. Helmuth networks like no other.
Well, also the companies get to say Phil Helmuth is one of our investors.
Right. And I think that's a big, like he's very marketable and that's a big selling point for them.
Yeah.
She's very intelligent and is leveraging an aspect of poker that's ingrained in all of us.
Right.
But is directly applicable to the VC world.
Yeah.
And she has to be making fucking bank. You don't get an advisory role in this company to help with their systems if you just aren't making a significant salary out of this. Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know if it gives me hope or if it makes me want to just end it all tomorrow.
Well, yeah, it's always a fine line.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near in the middle either. Yeah. It's only one or the other.
It's a pendulum.
Yeah, I'm just like reading it and I'm just like, I'm going to kill myself. And then I read a little further. It's like, nah,
maybe there's hope for me.
There's a future in this.
Nah, I'm going to kill myself.
And it's like, no, I'm going to kill myself for sure. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find it to be interesting in the sense that she doesn't even seem to care about the stain that she left in this community.
Yeah, I think that's what is distasteful about it, is that she is benefiting from like her time in poker after having just fucked over everybody.
Right.
And nor do the people that hire her.
No, they don't give a fuck.
They don't care at all. They're like, you have talent, and we're gonna use that talent, and we're gonna.
Well,
like,
to also be fair, like we see it as theft. Obviously, they just see it as a failed business venture.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they have a different outlook on it.
And that's I don't think any one.
I think you have to be in the community and understand like that.
I mean, maybe
really,
like.
I mean, if you look at it from the outside, you're like, why would I want to work with somebody like that?
Right.
But
yeah.
But is it more than a failed business venture? Like, yeah, she made guarantees.
You could say that about all the crypto rugs, all the NFT rugs. They're just failed business ventures. A Visa Metaverse, just a failed business venture.
Well, it becomes a matter of like, was it set up to be a rug or was it set up to be a business?
And like, I feel like, how can you prove it? It's like,
it's pretty hard to think that Epic was set up to be a rug.
Right.
Just because there would have been so much more money to escape with if she had allowed it to be a success for season 1.
Yeah.
I truly think that like she had a good business idea.
You think it was like well intended,
and the execution was just trash.
Yeah.
And eventually they went broke.
I mean, I think that Fire Festival had They had an idea.
They started
didn't
off
mean for it
with
to be
good
FEMA
intentions.
tense.
Right.
But
Right.
then,
No, you should definitely be persecuted for poor execution.
right.
For
yeah.
sure. I guess I'm just not surprised that the venture capital world is so forgiving.
Yeah.
Because like they see this shit day after day.
Yeah.
Right? Startups come and go. 90-some% of them fail.
Right.
Right? So it's not that shocking.
They're like that meme of the Step Brothers where he's throwing the roulette thing or the craps dice.
Right, yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
gambling.
Yeah, and honestly,
One will
like,
stick.
man, I need to refresh my memory with exactly how the EPL collapsed. But if I remember correctly, the $1 million guaranteed end of the season free roll for the people who qualified. If I remember correctly, that money was being taken from the rake, so it was effectively a rake back type of event.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm wrong, obviously, like, feel free to correct me. But assuming that was the case, all it is a false promise at that point. It's like the idea of paying rake to play in these events isn't that obscene. Everybody got
Isn't
paid
a
out.
false promise technically like fraud?
Obviously not.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't persecuted on it.
Yeah.
And it's not
She was
like
prosecuted. She wasn't
what's that? Well, she wasn't
prosecuted.
prosecuted.
She was persecuted
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it wasn't like, I think it's very different if she's like running a 15K buy-in and people don't get paid out.
Paying out in silver at
Yeah,
30%.
Right. She's like, okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you 10% of your prize money now.
Uh-huh.
And then you're going to get these silver minted gold or these silver minted Civil War plates sent to your house.
These antique dolls.
Right. Like she just started to do an infomercial. No joke. I'll never forget this. One of the EPL finals was here in Vegas at Palms, I believe. And Mercier had made the final table as well as Chino Ream. Mercier ended up busting like third or fourth, and we were all in the crowd watching, and he was like super bummed. But he had loaned Chino a bunch of money, and Chino wins it for like $1 million.
Uh-huh.
And there was a
line.
conga line following Chino to the fucking cage.
You should have seen.
It was wild.
It was crazy.
It's like something out of a storybook. Like
That's crazy. I
Like-
wish there was a picture or something.
everybody was terrified that he was just gonna like go out a back exit of the fucking casino
climb
and
out
just
the window.
disappear. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was literally every single person he owed money to, which was a long list, and they were all
They just
there.
all
They were
heard and
just
they all went to the
there.
casino.
Right, like they're like fighting each other
Yep.
for who's gonna get paid back because it's clear that like this
Not
score
everyone.
wasn't gonna be enough.
Yeah.
Like China's at the final table. They're on the East Coast. They're flying into
Yeah.
Vegas. Like,
Holy shit, he is.
yeah.
Annie Duke's like, God, the attendance here is unbelievable. Like, I really think we have a fucking hit on our hands. Meanwhile, it's just like 30 people trying to collect off of Chino.
Yeah.
Different times, man. Very, very different times. The EPL was interesting. I was a little bit too young still in my career. I played a couple satellites. They were good. I mean, they were probably comparable to like what we would see in a 10K event now. Maybe close to like what PokerGo ultimately did with the high roller scene. The only reason I don't want to compare them apples to oranges is because like the players now in the PokerGo high roller scene are so much better. But for the time then, the field was tough.
Yeah.
Right? Like there weren't really any wrecks involved, and there were like 10 and 15K buy-ins in, 2010, whatever it was, 2012.
Final tables were always stacked with name players.
Yeah, it was everybody you knew, and granted, like looking back, they would have been soft tables,
Yeah.
but at the time, like they were super, super tough. It was a very competitive league, and there was a lot of prestige immediately attributed to the league. Like it just popped up, and instantly out of the gate, it was like, oh, this is a thing. Like if you compete here,
Yeah. I
This
guess
is very
that's where
important.
it's similar to the PokerGo stuff.
yeah. I wonder how it failed. I should do more research because again, I wasn't quite in it enough when it happened to be upset. So I just didn't give a shit and I never really looked deeper into it. But I'm interested in like how it actually failed because obviously like her burn was exceeding the rake that they were pulling and that leads to the collapse. But what the fuck was the burn on? Right? Like as far as I can tell, or at least as much as I
Salaries?
remember. Yeah. Laundering money? I don't know.
Yeah.
But like as much as I remember, it was literally just like putting events up a handful of times. I think most of them were in Vegas too. So it's like just securing a venue, having a staff and getting it off the ground. And for sure the satellites were raked, even if the main event wasn't. So it's not like they had no revenue generating. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's something for a later date to look into a little bit deeper. Deep in thought. Way before your time.
Way before. I mean, most of this stuff is. I'm like such a baby when it comes to poker pop culture.
Well, apparently so is Conrad, since he had no idea who Annie Duke was.
He was being facetious.
And was sure that she had gone to Duke.
He was being
I was completely being facetious.
Which was he trying to say? It was bullshit.
Which part was bullshit?
Do you think she has a bad name also
know.
because of her being related to Howard Lederer, or do you think people have forgotten about that already?
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, nobody's ever gonna forgive Howard and Ferguson and the like. That's a really interesting story to dig into too. Man, I'm gonna have to spend some time on this
You
because
got some time on the flight.
Yeah.
What?
You got some time on an upcoming flight.
That's true. But the Full Tilt scandal was something that, like, at the time I was heavily engulfed in. And I remember Matt Parvis, then of Poker News, did a sit down with Howard. And it turned out to be a very poorly constructed interview. No fault of Parvis. It was just like something where clearly Howard was in put out the fire type of mode. But like now that I'm a little bit older and I kind of have a better understanding of like how companies work and shit like that, I'm interested in where the actual fault lies. I think everybody who is a board member there is at fault at some. But like, you know, at the end of the day, and this is not trying to say that they should be implicated, but like guys like Ivey, guys like Seidel, Mattisau, trying to think who were the other like major red pros there.
Lindgren was one.
Lindgren, but that's the thing. So Ivey, Mattisau, Seidel, full pass. Lindgren, fully indicted.
Yeah.
Like everybody persecuted him.
Yeah.
And part of it was because I think it leaked that he was taking advances on his salary or something like that. So he was part of the reason why they were underwater. But I think Ivey was making like a disgusting amount of money. Like something I don't want to throw numbers out because I don't really recall, but it was like 7 figures a month.
It was crazy. They were just
maybe 8 figures a month. I don't even
so
remember.
Much money.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like he was the face, obviously, but like that was it. Like Ferguson was the software developer. Howard was the businessman. Ray, what the fuck was his name? He was the main guy that like seems to have been the one that corroborated the whole. Like, never mind. I was gonna make a comparison to current day, but I don't want to get.
I see an article here that says they were paying him $900K a month.
Ivey?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's in line with what I thought. I thought it was like
insane.
$1 million. And man, what the fuck was his name? Ray something. No. That's I feel like that's baseball for some reason. Oh, I'm thinking of Tagliabue. Paul Tagliabue. Oh yeah, Ray Bitar. That's right. Oh man, I have so many things like flashing through my mind now because I've watched so much fucking stuff about this. But if I recall, just giving the quick details of it, I think what happened was they had a problem with a third party out of Australia that was a payment processor. And they either collapsed or rugged Full Tilt out of some money. And that led, I think, to Bitar dipping into player funds, which may have been once segregated, but at the end was like not fully segregated. I can't really recall. I want to do a deep dive on it though before I like start throwing out details that are just very hazy from my memory.
Don't want the
But man,
journalists to come after you.
What a fucking wild ride, because at the same token, you had Party Poker that was going through the same shit at the same time, or not the same shit, but they were dealing with Black Friday at the exact same time. And I remember I got my money out 12 hours I must have had like so
Before?
fucking lucky. This is so lucky. I never played on stars, and I shouldn't say I played some days on stars, but that was it. And I grinded full tilt. Like my volume was probably like 4 or 5 to 1 on full tilt. But stars had just had Scoop, I think. Maybe not. Oh no, Scoop was coming up because it was April. So I'd moved like and full tilt had just had like an F-top series. So I moved a pile of my full tilt over to stars. I had like 30 or 40,000 on stars, and I had like 9K on full tilt. And I just instantly get my stars money, and my full tilt money's locked up for like 9 years.
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
It's wild. It's just like thinking that those two companies coexisted at the exact same time, suffered the exact same fate to Black Friday, and one of them managed to do everything by the book and need no government assistance, no bailout, nothing along those lines.
Yeah.
While the other one eventually, oh my God, man, Brent Hanks had like 6 figures on there. I remember he sold it for 85 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because he just like couldn't be illiquid for as long as it was.
Right.
And I remember thinking like, I was always holding on. I was like, man, don't do it. But I wasn't in his shoes either.
Right.
I didn't have like 90% of my worth just fucking tied up.
And it would have been tied up for so long anyway.
For so long. Yeah, I mean, I think Stars ultimately bought Full Tilt in 2015.
It's like people sold their locked jewel for markdown, and that was only going to be locked up for 6 months.
Jesus Christ.
So, and it ended up being good. The guy that sold for, well, it's around there now, but he sold his for like $9 or something.
And it's less now?
Yeah, it went down to like 4.
Ooh.
But now it's back up to 9 something.
Wasn't it like 20 at one point?
Yeah, it was 22. I wrote it all the way from 3 up to 22, and then
you sold
back down
because you're a genius.
and then back up.
Oh.
I sold like half at 20-ish, and then it back down, wrote it back down.
I remember you guys talking about
it.
Jewel like it was the next coming. And then out of nowhere, because I stopped paying attention to NFTs when we got into the NFT winter.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, I just hear like you and Dan and like, Jewel is shit. Jewel is garbage. And I'm just like,
Yeah, because it went
is
down
nothing
to
sacred
fucking
anymore?
Let me tell you something right now.
$5.
That might have been
Cryptoverse.
NFT winter, but it is NFT summer, and it is fucking hot right
NFTs
now.
are hot right now.
It
yeah.
is fucking hot.
I might have to jump back in there.
It's
Pull-
absurd
pull
what's
out
going
my
on.
laptop
Can I
off
just
the
playing
table.
5 card? He's over there
I'm
trading
doing-
NFTs.
Don't you worry about what I'm
Can I
doing,
ask
all
you?
right?
He's
Can I ask you a
trading
personal
shitcoins on
question? And
leverage.
please feel free to say no after I ask it if you're not comfortable answering.
Should I go fuck yourself?
Yeah, that's fine too. But I paid very close attention to your habits when you were rich. And what I'm very confused of is where did it all go? I don't know that you were losing in poker. I don't think you were. I don't think you were losing in NFTs.
I can't answer that question on the podcast.
What?
Huh?
Wasn't it on ACR?
Oh, no. The IRS might be listening or something.
That's good. You
That's
want them
good,
to hear
it's
your
gone.
losses.
You want them to know it's gone.
But, like... if
Hey,
I-
Uncle Sam,
Yeah.
he dusted.
Yeah.
it
lost
depends
it all.
on where I spent it, right?
No, you lost it. You
You
lost,
lost it,
the money.
Conrad.
all
You
the
lost.
money.
Get the
Okay, I lost
terminology
it,
right.
Uncle Sam. I lost it. My bad.
Keep up, Carl.
What am I saying? No,
I guess what I'm getting at is like, were there
It
a bunch
wasn't-
of rug projects you were involved in that I didn't know about?
no, honestly, anything that I bought that was in the NFT space has, at bare minimum, other than Critters, like...
Oh, you loved Critters.
I still love Critters, man. I think they have they have an upside. They have a really good team. Anyway, but everything I had is like at least 5 or 6x at the bare minimum.
But you didn't sell it 5 or 6x.
No, I had to sell it 2 or 3x, and I was trying to hold.
Okay, so you made profits on everything. Where?
Oh yeah, I made profits.
Well,
But,
with the
you know,
exception of Visa Masterclass.
I mean, most of
Meaties
the
and baskets.
profits from NFTs obviously went on the ACR Sundays.
Right.
we're
The high
fucking-
stakes on ACR got a nice donation to their prize pool.
right.
Sometimes.
That's the thing is like I wasn't paying close attention. Like I didn't know he's just like firing the
Firing
600
1Ks
every
and
single
on
day. The
ACR.
1K.
I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't lose money on ACR though. I won the fucking warm up.
After that, though.
Did win the
Yeah, I
warm
know,
up.
but I didn't lose money like I definitely did not lose money in poker. I probably lost like maybe.
Are you sure you didn't just like bury a big chest of cash somewhere that you forgot about?
Honestly, there's a good chance
Like,
there
are
might be a
you-
little knot somewhere.
Where is it?
Did you Did you actually put it all in Bitcoin and forget?
There might be a dot somewhere.
He's
I
got
don't
a
know.
wallet somewhere, just like he has no
He's like,
idea.
I have 5 coins.
Yeah.
I completely forgot.
You come back in like 10 years when it's $1 million a coin, be like, oh shit.
I spent a lot of money on reckless stuff.
$5
Like vacations.
Oh
Just
man, when
doing
we were
reckless
filming our
stuff.
last Poker Out Loud, I just remember Conrad prancing around going, yeah, I got this Visa Masterclass shit.
Honestly, if we had the fucking footage, I wish like we just should play it because it's honestly great.
He's
It's-
dealing Poker Out Loud with his computer, that exact one, right next to him, sweating it out, like going like this, like
While
"We're
Dan's
rich,
texting all of
Meanwhile,
us.
it's a honey pot that
While
nobody
Dan's
can
literally
sell.
tweeting, I hope nobody bought Visa Masterclass because that shit ain't going back.
And I'm like, Conrad, so you rich or what? He's like, no, we're not rich. No, I'm like, what? He's like, scam. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Can you sell it? Can't sell it. No. I'm like, so what do you do? Nothing. It's gone. I'm like, okay.
Just gone.
All right.
Have you been rugged?
Yeah.
You're not
for a
living
lot?
life if you
Yeah,
ain't been
no,
rugged
I mean,
before.
there's so many. I've been, but
I've
not
been
much.
rugged.
I've only been
You ain't
rugged
living
for
life.
like, there was
I'm a
something
little
that I,
more cautious.
I've been rugged like from minting stuff. Like I minted something that they just like
Lions?
took the.
Remember we had the
No.
fucking hack on
I
the
was
Lions?
just minting Solana stuff, and I would just spam, mint.
Remember when we had the
mint.
fucking hack on the Lions where we could see what was minting?
Oh yeah,
how'd that work
the
out for us?
hyenas.
Oh, the
Yeah,
hyenas. That's right, the hyenas.
Yeah, no, there was. I mean, of course, I've been rugged. It's like that everyone gets rugged if you spend enough time. Just
Mama Joe.
It's a numbers. Mama Joe's been rugged. Everyone's been
talking
rugged.
Yeah, Mama Joe, we
But
trust.
the thing is, like, if you're managing your risk well, you're not going to chuck in a bunch of money into like something that's potentially very sketchy.
Isn't it all kind of
It
sketchy
is sketchy,
still?
but like if you're minting something, like you're willing to, it's sort of, it's the same as gambling. You're willing to lose that
Sure,
much.
sure, of course.
And then, but the returns are asymmetrical.
Well, yeah, I think mints are a little different. Like the risk is so asymmetric.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the reward is so
and like
asymmetric.
you have fail safes in line, so you use a burner wallet, so they can't drain your shit if it is like a hard rug or
Have you had any of that? Like, have you been attacked at all by airdrops or?
Yeah, I got some suspicious airdrops, but they can't do anything unless you like. It tells you a website. It's like you get a free gift. Go to this website and then connect your wallet.
But there
I'm
are
like,
more.
no.
There are more or less conspicuous ones, right? Like
Yeah.
there was one floating around maybe 4 or 5 months ago. I can't remember the exact details of it, but I remember we were moving all of our stuff into cold storage
Right.
because
The OpenSea one.
yeah. There was an OpenSea
Yeah.
attack where people were doing airdrops and it was just basically
Yeah.
cleaning
It's
out
like,
your account.
do not have any wallets connected to OpenSea
Right.
right now. Make sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I try and spread like where my money is out all the time. So if one thing gets rugged, at least it's not everything.
That's
like
probably
I
the
don't
best
keep
way to
everything
do
in
it,
one
right.
place. I just have it sprinkled all over the place.
little sprinkle here and a little
Yeah,
sprinkle there.
little,
It's nice.
a few dollars there, a few dollars here.
Plant some
Maybe I
seeds.
forget about some over here for a while, and then I find it later. I'm like, ooh, money.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I was gifted a sports card NFT like a year ago. I wonder if that's worth anything now.
Maybe.
Probably not.
You probably missed it though. It probably went like this, and then
Right.
it's back down to.
Yeah, it was. Well, it wasn't even a 1-of-1. It was. So the series itself, it was soccer athletes, I believe, and the series itself had like, I don't know, 500 different player cards or whatever. But some of the common ones, there were multiples,
Yeah.
which just to me seems like they have to be worthless.
Could be worth something.
Yeah,
Maybe a little something, like a couple $100.
I'll take a couple $100.
Bad?
That
For
fucking
free?
gifted to me.
Yeah.
That's a lot of goddamn money.
Yeah.
You're just handing out a couple $100.
I mean, it's crazy the returns you can get. I mean, if you have a massive stack of money and you just need a couple, like you could get 1% a day somewhere. Like that's not unfeasible.
What are you into these days, Andre? Do you ever get rugged?
Really. I'm not speculating anymore for the most part. I'm mostly just working behind the scenes, and so I work on a project right
Man
now.
behind the man.
You were in a bunch of like DeFi pools and stuff like that, weren't you?
Yeah, I was really into.
Wait, were you
liquidity
in
pools.
the Ohm pools? The forks?
No, I
Did
wasn't.
you see Ohm went down 98%?
I did.
Yikes.
Crazy.
But yeah, I was. Let's see. I was in Rally for a bit, and then a bunch of BSC stuff. But for the most part, I did the Melissa strategy: get in low, sell high. Life's good.
Yep.
That's a good strategy.
So you're rich.
I'm okay.
He's
Oh.
rich. That's what rich people say.
You hear that, guys? Andre's buying us a brand new
Andre!
audio switcher.
Oh,
He's rich.
He's
Thanks,
rich.
Andre.
That is
Great.
what rich people say.
He's gonna get us a mixer. He's gonna get Melissa a nice camera.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, Andre.
So thank you, Andre. So nice of you.
He's the man.
So nice of you.
Got
What
real
else is going on, guys?
quiet over there.
Today's a real shoot the shit kind of day. It's hump
Yeah.
day.
It's
Hump
hump
day.
day. We were playing some poker last night with some very drunk people.
Oh yeah, I think we
we've-
need to talk about this a little bit.
The Israeli woman who was calling him rabbi.
Well, yeah, I think we can talk specifically about the Israeli woman, but I want to
her.
talk about your general experience, I guess, now that you've entered the live streets.
So I feel like honestly, it's so it's still not. It doesn't feel very natural to me to play live, which is kind of weird because usually people go like the other way.
Right.
They'll like start live and then play online.
Yeah.
But, like
Well-
to me, like I can just log in online and just be like boom, 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 boom. Like I'm just my brain works like that better.
Yeah.
So live is a little different. I'm getting used to it, but it's just
Live's a party, though.
it is fun.
Live
It's
is
it's
fucking
really
awesome.
fun, and I like the social part of it a lot. Like I always like it's just I'm always laughing. Like there's just funny stuff going on.
That's because you're always at Conrad's table.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Do
true.
you whale hunt Conrad?
He whale hunts me.
She fucking 5 betties forward like 100
I have five bet ace four suited.
You're the whale.
with $100 above.
You're the whale.
I'm the whale. You know, kill me.
You chopped though.
Yeah.
My
But
fucking
we
God.
ran out of straight, and I flopped a flush draw, so you almost got wrecked.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fine to whale against the person that you're positive will run worse than you,
Yeah.
and nobody's gonna run worse than Conrad in a
Right.
spot where the money matters.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, whatever.
Equity.
Ace four, fuck them.
Ace four suited's a great
Stick an
hand.
ace deuce. Who gives a shit?
Ace four, ace five. I'm in there.
Yeah.
So sick. But
I
yo,
bet-
games are crazy. Just the environment's just so much fun.
They're really fun. Yeah.
I think that's the big thing that I enjoy the most about live is how easily you can manipulate the environment if you are gregarious at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as soon as this drunk woman sat down last night, like people who hadn't spoken a word were like suddenly the most talkative at the table. Like,
Right.
ooh. Like,
Right, and
talking
people
to
don't
me.
understand like how that impacts their play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are trying really, really, really fucking hard when a game is dry and boring and quiet.
I noticed that, and then the people weren't even like they were like, "What's going on? Like, where am I? Like, what's the bets?" Like,
Yeah.
they were suddenly like,
The
not,
second they let their guard down, all of a sudden they're like cold calling 3 bets
Yeah.
and like, you know, it's just like crazy people have been let loose.
right. I think that it's definitely like it's hard because like there's spots where online it's like this is a very simple thing where like oh like he like check jammed all in like this is I have a pair like I'm calling but like it's like live like they're not like doing that with like as many draws as they should or
yeah.
whatever so it's like yeah but like he just has top pair or an over pair so like
I think very confidently you can just overfold versus aggression live.
yeah
I mean,
Yeah.
that's been my strategy from day one. It's just like you just jab, jab, jab until they throw a haymaker, and then you just like block.
right
Just like, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight for this pot.
yeah
Because you just get the red line game so hard to death. And the thing of it is like when you're in an environment where everybody showed up to try to win the blue line war. And
yeah they're just trying to make hands
right, and they're just like willing to sacrifice they're
of
willing to
small
sacrifice to somebody who's overly aggressive and just like let them redline. What you have to understand is that accomplishes 2 things for you as the player who is redlining. Number 1, it gives you an auto win rate, right? Like you have to be making tremendous errors now in like showdown driven lines.
yeah
So specifically on the river in order to actually get wrecked. But number 2, it also compensates for you to pay off spots that feel close. And eventually like you'll calibrate out of that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like the learning calibration part where it's like, okay, online, this is for sure 0 EV, which probably makes it negative EV. once we're in a live environment, but I don't know enough.
Right.
I'm not positive. So what I'm going to do is pay in a spot that in theory it should be winning me $0. But in practice, I may be losing. And then I'm going to allow the confirmation bias of whatever I see to kind of manipulate my strategy moving forward. That's worth a lot because you're paying for it with the red line. So it's like Christian told us a hand the other day where he squeezed Jack 10 suited out of the big blind. The hijack called, the button folded, and it came like ace 10x. He check calls flop, or sorry, check flop. Turn is another ace. He check calls. River's a brick. He checks. Faces jam.
Oh yeah.
And it's like in theory, this hand's a pretty good bluff catcher. It's probably like somewhere around 0 EV, maybe slightly winning. And like you also have queens and kings as a bluff catcher in this line, and you'll have some like weak ace x, whatever. So it's like he's choosing to call in this spot, not because he necessarily thinks it's 0 EV or slightly plus EV in practice, but because he can't have any certainty over what this player's strategy is.
Right.
And you kind of just like want to see, right?
Yeah.
And it's like he pays, he loses to ace 10, and it's there's a part of you that says like, okay, well, I didn't learn anything from that. But that's not true.
Right.
Because what I learned from that, or at least what I gleaned from it when he told me the hand is, okay, this guy is probably never betting the flop with an ace.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's checking back
I know. I
his
expected
second
him to
best
have like
ace.
like a low, like suited ace.
Yeah,
or
if he shows
something.
ace 5 there, then it's just like, all right, I guess I really did pay for nothing.
Yeah.
I just didn't learn
Like
all that
ace
much.
10, it's like
Right, but when he shows ace 10, it's just like, okay, he's certainly not betting the flop enough with the value. But I would also wager that he's betting too often with hands like king queen or queen
Right.
jack,
Yeah.
right? His potential quote unquote bluff candidates. So it's like, we'd rather face a 3-barrel with jack 10 in this spot than a delay.
Yeah.
Because the delay is just much more ace X heavy.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, like when we can calibrate into that, it's worth so fucking much because we just get to do so much fuck shit. Right? Like we just get to 3-bet squeeze there with so many more hands and have vision over runouts where it's just like, okay, when check flop, if I face a turn bet here on like a non-board changing card, I'm probably not in great shape. I'll call one fold river type of thing. Yeah. Where it's like I have a clear 2-street bluff catcher, but they just don't find it because they don't delay their bluffs enough. That's to me the art of live poker.
Yeah, no, there really is sort of more of an art to it. It's not just like, this is a call, it's supposed to win this percentage of the time, call. It's like, yeah, but this guy doesn't bluff.
You're in the fucking moment. You're fucking
You
there.
gotta be in the moment.
You're
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Yeah.
It's fucking
There's a certain
live poker.
energy.
Right.
Oh, there we
Right.
go.
Yes.
Right.
There is.
You
a certain
manifest the energy in live.
There is though.
An
For sure
unspoken
is.
vibration, communication.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, I
Like,
feel it now.
If I
Yeah,
if I
you're finally
can,
getting it. I feel it now.
I do find when I'm being more like rigid, it just doesn't work as well.
Yeah. I mean, no one reads the energy of a room like me.
You're a Pisces moon.
I'm a Pisces moon, goddammit. I just feel vibrations in my
Yes.
soul,
Yeah.
and it leads me to proper decision. I fucking hate this bit. I can't even commit to it. It's so goddamn painful.
Soon it's gonna become like unironic though.
No, it won't. It never will become unironic.
I think we should like start setting crystals like on,
I know.
on
I'll
his
just
desk.
put one
yeah.
every day. A new
Yeah,
crystal.
just like a nice little collection
Well, when we
of
do our
crystals.
team
You know what?
trip to Sedona, I'll get you some crystals.
Oh, there's
He
so
brought
many
some
good
last time
crystals
we
in
went.
Sedona.
He brought back one of those pink Himalayan crystals.
I bought it for fucking Danielle
He's
because she's a
fucking lying
psychopath.
to you. He's lying to you. It's sitting on his nightstand
dispels
in his
negative
room.
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know. They have this like, God, what a
I didn't
fucking
even know-
Didn't you
scam.
sage
I didn't
your
even
house
know
when
he
you
No,
bought
Danielle
one.
staged my house. She staged my house, and a water
great.
pipe burst like a day later.
That's
so
because it
Danielle.
had to purge. Had to purge its.
Fuck this voodoo, Grandma. I'm out. Sedona's like the biggest con city I've ever been in my life. They have this like giant quartz, or I don't even know what the fuck it is. I imagine it's a quartz, but they probably like they call it a crystal.
Everything's woo woo there.
Right, they call it a crystal, obviously, and it's like 6 foot tall. It's like $15,000.
Yeah.
And some asshole who doesn't deserve money is gonna buy it.
Yeah, I've seen ones that are like 6 figures.
What?
I mean,
They make whole bathtubs out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's too much for me. I don't even fuck with the crystals and stuff. I did go through a little phase of being a crystal daddy.
you should have told this to the Eastern European woman last night. She would have
She would have short circuited.
Well, let's talk a little bit about her.
So she's this woman from Israel. She looked like Princess Diana.
Wait, she's from Israel. She's not Eastern European then.
Isn't it sort of?
That's not.
No, that's Middle East.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she's middle, whatever.
First of all, not Europe.
Yeah.
Second of all,
Her accent.
but the accent
I was
you
just,
use
I was
is
conveying the
very,
accent. Yeah.
very Eastern
well,
European.
that's what it sounded like to me.
Okay, so maybe she was a refuge from
Could
like
be.
Ukraine.
Could be, yeah.
Okay, continue.
So every time that somebody would like bet when she didn't want them to, she would be like, "That's not nice after the pandemic," and like she would like shame them. And then when Conrad sat down, she's just like rapid fire like interviewing him, and then she finds out that we're roommates, and she's like, "What? You live with men?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I have 4 male roommates," and she's like, "What do you do when they come in your room in the middle of the night?" And I was like, "They don't, I hope." She's just like Conrad stood up and left, and she's like, "No, do they come in your room in the middle of the night?" I was like, "No, they don't." And then she asked the guy to my right, like, "Would you live with a girl?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm gay." But she's okay. She was amazing though. I remember she like went all in with her last like $4, and then says to her like partner behind her, she's like, "Gambling is the worst addiction of them all. You will lose everything." And then like rebuys for another 50 big blinds.
She sounds like a fucking gypsy.
Yeah, she was the best.
Loved
She
her.
turns to me. She's like, "I lost $300 before this. My partner's gonna kill me." Her partner walks up behind her. "Yeah, we're just in for this and this, like 120."
Yeah, Conrad had his like braids in yesterday, and I think she had a full house against you at some point. And she goes, "I made a full house against the rabbi."
It was a fucking ball. She asked me what happened. She asked me about my father, and
Yeah.
I said, "I'm half black. Black fathers don't stick around long."
I cannot stand him. He is crazy. I cannot stand him.
Oh man,
He's great.
live poker's a fucking party.
I mean, it's
It
really
really
fun.
is.
Like, I meet a lot of like really nice people and funny people.
yeah, it really is a party. I wish that there was a way for it to scale. Like, I wish there was. I wish the games would go back to the way that they used to be. I mean, obviously, I'm like reminiscing a little bit, but like 2010, 2011, 2012, Bellagio 1020, 1020, 40 game. It was the wild. I mean, like Nelly would just show up. Legit, like
Yeah.
would just be. I remember I was in a shorthanded game. It was like me, Ben Lamb, Chance, and a couple other rando regs.
Yeah.
And it's like back then, everybody had their own approach to the game, so it wasn't just
It was
a bout of memorization.
more, like even playing.
Yeah,
fields,
because like
or felt like it
nobody
to
knew
people.
what the other person was doing, right? That's what it was all about, was just dissecting in the moment what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
So like we weren't afraid to battle. Like reg battling happened all the time because nobody could ever actually quantify if somebody was better than the other person or
Yeah.
not. We all had ego.
Yeah.
But now it's
I
just
don't know. I
like,
feel like that's people still can't.
well, at the lower
quantify.
stakes for sure, and at the higher stakes, it's just like a war of attrition of like,
Who knows the
well,
spot?
have you studied a 5-bet spot
Right.
and Jack 5-3 out of position donks?
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Okay, then I have edge. Let's
Yeah,
go.
right.
Like that kind of thing, right? But back then it was just kind of like the Wild Wild West. And I remember like we were keeping this 5-handed game going that was clearly going to break. It was wild because the games would like sporadically break at weird times. Like the 1020 would run 24/7 usually, but they would just get these like random breaks where like on a Friday at 11 p.m. the game would just go down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like what it was. It was like a Friday evening, like 9-10 o'clock, and it's just like, okay, let's wait for the club rush. Maybe something will happen. And fucking Nelly just sits down. That's
We ain't
like,
going nowhere.
hey Nelly.
Did he have a Band-Aid?
No,
It's getting hot in
he
here.
wasn't.
No
in performance
Band-Aid.
mode.
Wow.
But he just like sits down immediately to my left and like, hey Nelly, what's up? How you doing, man? And it's just like, I was cracking.
Some guy at my table was
relax.
telling me
We didn't get anything yet.
what's
Oh,
cracked.
right.
Cracking.
It's what's popping till.
Some guy at my table was telling me that he played. He used to play the limit games at the Win, like when they used to play bigger,
Okay.
I guess. And Leo sat down and he said that he was like had like the reddest eyes, was like definitely like off a bender, and it was just like him and his friends. like-
DiCaprio, you're saying?
yeah.
Okay, so
I played with
we played with
DiCaprio,
DiCaprio.
Yeah.
First, the
Venetian.
Nelly, uber fucking nit.
Oh, come
Uber
on,
fucking
man.
It's getting cold in here.
I flopped a straight
Yeah.
versus him where he flopped middle set, and it took him like an hour to put all the fucking money in.
Jesus.
It was like an 8-7-5 board. No, I mean maybe I had 6-9, but like he actually might have had top set like 10-6-4. I don't know, 10-5-4, something like that, and I had 6-8. We get it all in eventually for like 7K. We weren't even that deep. And then him and his 3 massive bodyguards just like slink off. But yeah, we were at the Venetian one day playing 5-10, and this guy comes in with a ball cap that's like
Yeah,
down
like a
over his face,
track jacket
like this.
on, and like
It's like way down over his face
Right.
like this. He has like this stringy blonde hair
Yeah.
coming out of the back, and he has this
Greasy.
like track jacket up, and you know he looks like he's in his like late 30s, early 40s, something like that.
Yeah.
And Lamanna and I are playing 5-10. And he sits down immediately to my left, and Lamanna is either immediately to my right or a couple seats across. And he just like texts me. He goes, "That's Leonardo DiCaprio." I go,
Of course,
He
Brian.
knows his
Of
left.
course, fucking Brian.
I go, what? How do you
recognize
how
those
the fuck
baby
do you
blues
know?
anywhere.
And he goes, I'd recognize those baby blues anywhere. And I'm just like, all right, I guess it's Leonardo DiCaprio.
hilarious.
So
Right.
like, he's not even that deep. He's like literally like 100 blinds deep or whatever, playing relatively tight. And this tends to be the MO of like poker players who don't play cash all that often.
Yeah.
But he's like sitting there, and it becomes apparent now that everybody knows who it is. And this kid in the or I guess he was in the 1 seat, and Leo's in like the 4 or the 5, and immediately to his right. And this kid just like very non-conspicuously puts his phone up like this, and then goes full flash
right in his
my
face. And he was
nightmare.
like,
full fucking
Oh
flash.
Just like-
my god.
And there's like a bodyguard like by the cage, like off in the distance, that just like immediately stands up.
Oh my god. What did he do after?
If I was that kid, I would have just fucking
I
left.
would have left.
I would
Yeah.
just, I would've been like, I'm sorry,
That's
I have
that
to go.
happened to me when I was taking a
was just
picture of
thinking, man,
a
what
guy
are you-
at the gym once, and my flash went off, and I was like, I have to go.
Fucking creep.
I'm creepy. Yeah.
Yeah, that adds up
Yeah.
for sure.
I recall he won like a 3K pot, and then like played a couple hands and left.
Yeah, just gone.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah,
got hit and ran
yeah,
by
like,
a
he got lucky
Come on.
gazillionaire.
Like,
Where's
he
the
drilled the
action
river.
gamblers?
He drilled like a 5-outer on the river to win this pot, and we're like, oh yes, nice. He's got a lot of money in front of him. Let's
Yeah.
go. And then he played like 3 hands.
I gotta
Okay,
go.
like if you could play with any celebrity, who do you think would be the most fun to play with?
Ooh.
Man, I almost said Trump because
Jesus
I feel like
because he's
Right.
like so unhinged.
No, I feel like he'd
And he's
play
such a
maybe.
liar. But the problem is that I think it goes the other way with him, where I think he would play uber tight and then just lie about every
Yeah,
fucking
he'd be-
hand.
yeah,
He'd
he'd
just
be
say
saying
he
how
was
he won all
bluffing
these
every
hands.
time.
Like he would get 3-bet and he'd tank and be like, "Oh, how dare you 3-bet the great Trump?" and yada yada yada, and then fold and be like, "I folded queens."
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you! Stop insulting my intelligence. Like I don't want to. He is that guy. I played with
but that
enough
would
of
be
those
like
guys.
an edge because he would make you tilt.
That would, yeah. I don't want to play with him.
Yeah.
No, I want to play with Kevin Hart's a nit. I've played with him once. He prefers
What's
PLO
with
for
the
sure.
celebrities all being nits?
They're too rich. They
What
Yeah.
do
don't.
you mean if they're too rich?
Well,
They
to
need-
gamble?
they need more
Also
cards.
gamble.
They also don't play that much, so they're timid. You know?
Okay.
No, Kevin Hart plays a ton.
Okay, he plays. Yeah,
I bet he
does.
plays like 500 to 1,000 hours a year.
No fucking way.
1,000 hours.
That's
He plays
crazy.
a lot.
He should go down to
500
he should go
to
down
1,000.
Yeah, he should go to
Yeah, he could make
MGM. He could
22.
get 22K.
He played. I mean, he may have like taken a step back now, but like pre-pandemic, he was playing a lot. Like he was playing weekly in LA house games.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
a ton.
I would play with Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, she seems pretty inept.
Yeah, no, like, and she like plays like charity poker tournaments, and there is a clip that like where they have a poker coach like come on to the show to teach her and Kris Jenner like poker before they do a charity thing, and then somehow it's like him ends up bluffing, like, or Chris ends up bluffing her Range Rover on the river with 10 high. She's just like, I bet my Range Rover, and then Kim calls with king high. And the lady that's teaching them, her face is like, what's going on?
Money doesn't matter to these people. Who would I want to play with? Playing with Michael Phelps was the first time I was truly starstruck.
Really?
This is such a horrendous story, but and I've probably told it publicly, but I'll tell it again. So it was 2010, end of 2010, and I'd finally like just gotten some money, and my friend Berto is big in the sports memorabilia community, and he's Joe Montana's manager, so like he's very, very tied into athletes. So I don't remember if he befriended Jeff Gross or if he actually directly befriended Phelps, but in any event, Phelps was in town with like Gross and McLean Carr, who had just won Bay 101, and then just like a bunch of Phelps's friends. And he texts me and he goes, "Yo, do you want to play a fun 1-2 game at the Palms with Michael Phelps?" And I'm like, fuck yes. Like, don't care at all about like the gambling aspect. I just want to, he's like 24, 25 at this point and the greatest Olympian of my lifetime. Like, definitely just want to meet like an athlete. And I had run-ins with him before where I didn't get to play. Like, we were at Caesars. Caesars used to run like big fucking tournament series. Like, it's crazy how far that room has fallen. They were like the spot in like 2009 to 2012. But we were there playing, and I was playing in a 5-10 must move game, and Phelps was in the main game. So he was like within eye shot of me, and I was just like, fuck. Like, whatever reason, like when you're younger and you're on the come up too and you have a chip on your shoulder, you're just like, I just want to show him my chops. Like, he's gonna be so impressed, and we're gonna become besties and like all this other stuff, So finally I get my chance to play with him. I rushed down to the Palms. They had a seat saved for me, and I'm 2 to the left of Phelps. And like the very first hand dealt, so it's a 1-3 game, no cap. So I buy him for $3K, and Phelps just covers the table because he's big dicking it. But he's also like pretty new to poker, but has a competitive streak like you've just never seen. So, Helmuth is in the game, obviously. Yeah. Fucking nut rider, goddamn jockstrap. There was no way Helmuth was not going to be in this game.
just pumping up.
Best networker in the world. There's no joke about it.
He gives a lot of compliments to from people.
I mean, he's just there like stroking, obviously. Just
I didn't get any compliments. It's a little offensive.
You're not big enough.
I know.
You're not big time.
One day I'll say, hey, where was my compliment back then?
So I think it straddles to 6, and I'm under the gun. We're playing like 9-hander or something like that, and I have Queen 8 of spades. I open to who knows what. Maybe 30. Folds to Phelps in the straddle. No, he was in the big blind, the 3. He 3-bets me to like 150 or something like that, where 3K effective, I call. And the board comes 8 high, 2 spades. So I flop top pair and a flush draw. And he leads big. I don't know what he 3-bet to pre, but I remember him leading for like, no, sorry, that's why. He checks. Oh. And I bet like half pot.
Raise.
Yeah, so I bet like half pot, like $100, $150, something like that. And he check raises me big to like 800.
Michael.
And I just go, we're here to gamble. Like, who gives a fuck? And I jam. And he's so pissed as he like wings his cards in the middle.
Because that was his moment. Like, he was check raising.
Right.
It's like a big deal for him.
And I'm just, and meanwhile, and I'm getting the numbers wrong because like my jam was for not much more.
Right.
It was like a click.
Yeah. So he just didn't have anything.
And he just had dick.
Yeah.
And he's so pissed. And I'm just like, oh no, I've been here for one hand. You ruined it.
You ruined your chance to be best friends with him.
I've been here for one hand and he hates me.
Yes.
So we continue to play. I get kings versus his like queens or jacks and stack them.
Oh man.
And like nothing. I don't even win any money. I'm the fucking whale in this game. I'm whaling it off to everybody.
Yeah.
I end up winning like $500, but I beat him out of like 4 or 5K. And I'm just like, oh no. So when the game ends,
he'll never be my best friend now.
The game's coming to an end. Like, it's clear that we're about to leave. And he like stands up. He's like, all right, I'm going to head back up to the room. And one by one, he goes, are you coming to rain tonight? Are you coming to rain tonight? Are you coming to rain tonight? And it's not like I was the last one.
You got skipped.
There's like 3 other people, right? And he goes right over me and he goes, "Are you coming to rain tonight?" I'm just like, "Fuck, man."
It's like the opposite of fuck you, fuck you,
Yeah.
fuck you, you're cool, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Like,
the exact
he's like,
opposite.
"You're all cool, fuck you."
Wow.
I never want to see you get. So I'm like cashing out, and I go to Berto. I go, "Berto, like, please apologize to
hate
him for
me?
me. Like, does he hate me?"
Apologize.
Like, I don't know what I did, but like, just apologize, please.
You beat him. He doesn't
So-
like to lose.
Like a year and a half goes by, and I'm still like, this is pre-Black Friday, so I'm still grinding on full tilt from time to time, and I end up going deep in a couple F-tops. My best score being it was like a 150 re-entry maybe, or maybe even like a 300. Anyway, I end up getting third for like 100K. And then shortly that happened in like December. January, we go to the Brigada, as we always did, because I hate money, and it was my annual donation to
Right.
the East Coast.
Yeah.
So we go there for the WPT, and I'm playing in this 10-25-50 game, and lo and behold, who comes and sits?
Your nemesis,
My
Michael.
my nemesis, Mike Phelps. He sits down. TMZ actually got pictures of him in this game. It was
Wow.
wild. So he sits, and it's not that there's tension, but it's like, I know what's going on here, right?
Mhm.
So like 3 or 4 hands are dealt, and I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna ask him.
My God.
And I go, "Hey, Mike, do you hate me?"
Why didn't you invite me to the club that night?
No, I literally was just like, "Do you hate me?" And he did not skip a beat. He goes, "I did." And then he follows up and he goes, but like a couple of my friends told me to like look you up, and he's like, "I was following you online. I saw your deep run in the F-tops. Like, congratulations. I think
Aw.
you're really good, yada, yada, yada." I'm like, "That's great." And we chat a little bit more.
Proceed
He's
to
like,
stack him and he hates you again.
right. No. So we chat a little bit more, and he goes, "Here's my number. Come out with us tonight to what the
Murmur.
fuck was it called? Murmur." Yeah. I'm like, holy fucking
Now
shit.
Premiere.
Holy fucking shit.
You got
I'm gonna
the
be
invite.
best- I have Mike Phelps' number in my phone. I'm gonna get signed by Under Armour.
Friends.
So I rush up to my room. Were you on this trip with us?
Yeah, I was with you
okay,
guys,
yeah. It was like me, Lamanna, and Phil Collins. Phil knew Mike indirectly.
I had actually went to the club like a year ago before all this with Michael Phelps.
Right,
Oh,
with
okay,
Phil.
I was
okay.
already best
Yeah,
friends
so
with
he
Michael
didn't
Phelps.
hate you.
No, we were boys, yeah.
so
Makes sense.
So I rush up and I'm like telling Lamanna, like, we're going out. It was my birthday too, nonetheless.
Wow.
How convenient.
Yep.
So we get ready. We go down to the club. My man Gavin Smith is there, already blacked out in the fucking booth, like head down, gone. Can't fucking see straight. I'm like, this is gonna be a great night. So we show up. Phelps is there with his crew. I imagine Gross was there, but I can't remember. But it was like
I
me,
think he
Fildo,
was,
Lamanna, a blacked out Gavin Smith.
Yeah.
And Phelps. And he's like, "All right, everybody, let's do some shots. Happy birthday to Berkey. Let's get shots." And I go,
Uh-oh.
no.
He's gonna hate me
And I
again.
go, yeah. So I don't drink.
Right.
And he goes, "What do you mean you don't drink?" He's 24, 25. I'm
Had
like,
this conversation
I'm
many
like,
times.
I've never drank. He goes, "No, fuck that. You're doing shots with us." I go, "No,
See,
like,
at least when I say like, no, I had a drinking problem,
Right,
then they're
they
like,
respect
oh, okay,
that,
okay.
right.
With you, it's like, no, we're gonna get you drunk
and
for the first
I
time.
go, no, like, I don't think you understand. Like, I've literally never drank." And he's like, "So, are you fucking kidding me? Like, after all of this, you're not gonna take a shot with me?" So I'm like, like he's already a little drunk, so
just pretend
I'm
to.
thinking like I can like play it off.
Yeah.
And like as he like cheers everybody, I kind of like over the shoulder it. And he goes, "Did you just throw that shot?" I'm like, "God damn it." I'm like, "LeMan, back me up here. Like, tell him I don't fucking
I'm
drink."
just like, listen, man, he's never drank in his entire life. I was like, I'll do his shot for him.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that's why he liked you.
Yeah, exactly.
You were ready to
So
party.
all's well that ended well.
I know. Sometimes I wish, like last night, seeing the drunk woman, like the way she was able to affect everyone, and she literally got everyone to start drinking. And I'm like, God, like it sucks because that's the one part. Like I don't miss anything about drinking, but I do wish that I could like order a drink and get everybody else to start drinking.
Yeah.
That's the only part that would be beneficial today.
I mean, you still could. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people who do this
And they're
and
just
then,
not drinking.
and then
know
get
one.
themselves like water.
I know one. He'll be like this. He'll take the shot,
Yeah.
underneath the table.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels kind of scummy. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just be like, you should get a drink.
This is a very common practice. I went to a private trip about this time last year in Park City, and it was a fuck fest. Like, everybody, the game
What, it was
actually
a-
paused.
a
It-
fuck
Sex
fest?
party?
Yeah, no, like not actual. There
There
was that going on too, but like it was just a goddamn shit show.
Oh.
And
That's a better term.
At one point at like 11 p.m., the game actually paused because half the table was in a K-hole. Like they're just drooling on themselves on the
Yeah.
fucking couch, and like no one was left to play.
Yeah.
It's like Jesus Christ. But there was one. I won't say his name. Because he's one of my favorite people and I've been playing with him for a long time, but like he fucking disappears from the table with one of the girls, comes back up, and is just like out there.
Like doing on coke or
Just
something?
gone. He's like, I was doing lines off for vagina. And then he's sitting there, and it's like his heart's just like palpitating in his seat, like he's just dusting chips all over
Yeah.
the place. He goes,
I gotta play a hand now.
he goes, hi, I need a doctor. And we look at him, we go, you are a doctor.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
great. Yeah, that's the thing is because if I were like, the problem is that I could never, like drink casually as they are. If I were to order drinks with them, I'm like, you don't know what you're asking me to do here.
Right.
Like I would just, I don't know. Who knows? Who knows where I end up? On the streets.
I mean, I could take a stab at it.
Yeah.
Probably in
Jail.
jail or in one of our rooms, apparently, according to
No.
the friendly
Definitely jail.
Israeli woman.
And broke. I would absolutely be a whale. Then you think I'm a whale sober?
Well, you wouldn't waste your time at poker. That doesn't move fast enough.
No.
Got to get into the glitz and glamour of the floor and the pit games.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the dream.
What
That's
about-
where
what
most
about
of the
the pool?
celebrities are. What?
The pools.
Yeah, the pools.
You gotta get the pools in.
Got to hear the ching ching chings.
Yeah. The first time I ever played, though, I was super drunk and like on coke, and I was just like, thought I was so good, and honestly, might have helped. Thinking I was so good.
I'm sure everybody else thought you were a fucking dream too.
They were just they loved having me there.
Yeah. It's nice to be
I wasn't
the
wearing
center
many
of
clothes,
attention.
but-
Somehow sober, I managed to cultivate that image quite
Yeah.
often.
Yeah. Well, I'm managing to do it as well sober. So
Yeah, that's fair. I have so many good stories. I'll save a few since we're already 90 minutes in.
Already?
Yeah, pretty wild.
Time flies.
Time flies when you're having a good time. I think that's probably going to do it. I'm going to plug a few things. As always, we have a new course out. Michael Lukic put out a solver study course, so an intro to solver. Play that real quick.
Solvers made me a much better player, and becoming proficient at using solvers within my own poker study has really transformed me. They're calculators that provide a mathematically based output to a specific set of inputs. The value that a solver can actually provide is directly based on your ability to understand how those inputs relate to the outputs. We can start devising tests to answer really just about any question that we have about this game.
yeah, it looks really well done.
For anybody who is new to solver study or feels a little bit intimidated by maybe the PO interface or the idea of having to set up your own parameters, calculate your own simulations, I think Michael did a great job here walking you through the step-by-step. His background is data analysis, so no one's better qualified.
He's so smart.
He's what?
He's so smart.
He's very smart.
He's very intelligent.
Yeah, nobody's really better qualified, I don't think, than him to kind of give you a how-to. If you want to sign up for that, if you want to watch that course in its entirety, head over to solveforwhy.io. Feel free to sign up for the 2-week trial. Cancel anytime. Also, Mike has a much more robust version of that course. So if you are a little bit more familiar with sim study and you want to get into the weeds, or better develop the nuance that can be taken out of this data analysis, head to solver.school. He has a full 30-hour course there. I'm not really sure of the price. I think it might be something in the neighborhood of $700, but feel free to check that out. He has all the modules posted there so you can determine if it's of value to you or not. Really great Can't recommend it enough personally. I think that, he's just one of the easiest people to learn from when it comes to this stuff. And I imagine a lot of that is based off the fact that he learned it in a bit of a different world, in the marketing world, and is now applying it to poker. Secondly, we still have one seat available for the upcoming Poker Out Loud Academy. So if any of you are interested in that, those dates are April 27th to April 30th. Again, it's going to be 4 days long, 2 days of game theory study, 2 days of practical application at the table, where you'll be playing a full Poker Out Loud session with Pigtails Production doing their thing. So you'll be speaking your thoughts out loud whenever it's your turn to act, and you will have a full review session to look over indefinitely thereafter. If you're interested, again, head to academy.solveforwhy.io and be sure to lock up that last and final seat. You guys have anything else?
That's all.
All right. Tomorrow we're going to talk high stakes poker. We're going to try to get Chin woken up from his slumber so he can contribute to the strategy conversation. Should be a lot of strategy tomorrow. Some really interesting hands played by Garrett. One in particular where he and JRB play quite a large pot. So we're going to analyze that one a little bit closely. And we'll probably, talk a little bit more about the mid-stakes poker streets out here in friendly Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Conrad and Melissa are going to do a little recruiting to their games.
And it's opening day. Baseball.
It is opening
You
day.
guys want to
tomorrow.
see a fun meetup game?
It's true.
We're there all the time. We got nothing better to do.
It's just us at a table.
It's just us,
Come join us.
Trying not to be broke.
Tomorrow is the day that the Pirates are guaranteed to at least be 500, so we'll probably at least mention it.
Wait. Oh, before
the game.
Before 9
the
p.m.
game. Yeah.
Okay.
Before 1 p.m. That's going to do it for us. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment before you leave, as it helps our product grow. We will see you all tomorrow.
Go Bucks.